Premiering CBS Wednesday.
Let's do it!
We're stranding 16 real people on a remote island.
They've been given 2 minutes to salvage whatever they can off this boat.
Without food, electricity, or comforts of any kind.
I'm not eating no rats till I get hungry.
They'll compete for $1 million and once a week vote to see who stays and who goes. Survivor is the wildest show in history. The adventure of a lifetime. Premieres CBS Wednesday.
Every season of Survivor is a story. There are main characters, sidekicks, comic reliefs, and villains. A good season of Survivor tells a compelling story that has you rooting for someone and against someone else with the hope that it all ends in a satisfying conclusion. Each story that we look at together will go through one character's journey from beginning to end, from the time they are introduced until they inevitably get their torch snuffed or win the game. We will look at every character moment and strategic move to determine whether they were a hero or a villain, and whether they were a good or bad strategist. And with that, welcome to Once Upon an Island. Now, for reference, we are only going to be observing what the TV show is showing us and what story is being told through the show. While secret scenes may be included for extra content, no future seasons will be mentioned, as they have no effect on the story being told here. All character moments and strategic moves are interpreted with the mindset of what the story is trying to tell us. And with that,
39 days, 16 people, 1 survivor.
here we are, season 1 of Survivor. 16 castaways from all parts of America are stranded on an island in Malaysia. They don't know anything except that they have to survive the elements and each other for 39 days. That's really all they're told. Our protagonist is Kelly Wiglesworth, a 22-year-old river guide from California, and let me tell you, it is a bit surreal making this video exactly 5 years after making Richard Hatch's, which started this channel. Anyways, Kelly's on the Toggy tribe, and let's see how she sells herself to the Survivor casting team pre-season.
I don't buy into the whole American dream, have a house, have your little place to stay and everything, which is kind of weird because I'm a Cancer and supposedly Cancers are supposed to be into possessions, into having your stable thing. I mean, if people have their values, that's cool. You know, they can do whatever they want to, but if they're trying to push it on me, that doesn't work, so.
That is Kelly, good or bad. The Toggy tribe paddles to their beach, and upon their arrival, Rudy, the ex-Navy SEAL, tries to guide everyone on what to do. Kelly says he may be 72 and with experience, but he can't just go around bossing us. I mean, true, but no one knows anything about the show yet, and I'm gonna listen to the guy with survival experience, you know what I mean? Heck, all of Toggy is working on building the shelter, and Richard wants to talk strategy. Get a load of this guy. We see Kelly lead morning yoga for those interested, and the next day sees both tribes competing for immunity. Winner is safe, losers go to tribal council to vote someone out of this game.
Unfortunately, we're gonna have to vote somebody off. There's gonna be a lot of tension, and one of us is gonna leave.
Unfortunately, Toggy loses since Sonia trips. It's just that simple. Back at camp, we see Stacy say that she feels good about her bond with Kelly, and their plan is to vote for Rudy along with Sue. So we go to tribal council where they all vote, and
first person voted off the island. Sonia, the tribe has spoken.
Quick shout out to the treasure chest Survivor has at tribal council during the season. Nice touch. That's it for the premiere though, and if it wasn't for the bonus feature I showed you all earlier, I would have no idea who Kelly Wigglesworth really is. The place where I give updates, post what I make months early, and have you all pick said videos is on Patreon, which now has a free option for everybody. Link in the description. You can cancel anytime, and there is a 15% discount if you do sign up and support this channel for 1 year. Your support makes this happen and keeps us sponsorship free. Episode 2 sees the Toggy tribe struggling to fish, as they are certainly trying but not finding any success. However, the island is covered in rats. They're everywhere, but they taste like crap. Their tribe wins immunity, which has them eating gross food, and in episode 3, Kelly says, I wake up every day and completely forget where I am at. I've been there, Kelly, I've been there. But finally, on a show where the end goal is to vote out everyone else in the game and win, some strategic talk takes place.
We row out yesterday morning and set the traps. I come into the kitchen. Morning, Rudy, how are you doing? You're wasting your time out there. It's just a waste. I was like, damn, morning to you too.
I already know who I'd vote for. The person that's least contributing to the group.
When Kelly, Sue, and I were on the raft, we talked about who would vote off. Sue initially didn't want to talk about it, which immediately clued me in that she was planning to vote me off, even though we decided to stick together. So now I don't trust her as far as I can throw her, which according to the group would be not far.
Interesting. We then see how Dirk is a Christian and a virgin since he is waiting for marriage, and as it turns out, Kelly has a boyfriend back home. Oh, and she makes fun of Dirk for choosing to wait until marriage. It's the whole thing. Random, I know, but I remember people making fun of others in middle school for being virgins, and that was 7th grade. Was I missing something? Were you all? Anyways, all right. They win reward, which includes fishing supplies, and Richard just becomes a fishing machine. They can finally eat something other than rats. Their tribe loses immunity, and Rich tries to get people to talk about forming an alliance, and no one shows any interest. Kelly says, forget alliances, forget making friends. I am out here for myself to win this money, and that's it. And that's not the attitude to win this game, but Kelly could change once she learns how the winner is selected, so they all vote, and...
First vote, Stacy. Next vote, fading, Rudy. Stacy. Rudy. 2 votes for Rudy. Stacy. Stacy. Well, the weather has spoken, and the tribe has spoken.
Their tribe then wins reward and immunity, and with that, it finally happens. Richard Hatch, Sue Hawk, and Kelly Wigglesworth make an alliance.
The whole idea of an alliance is to make sure we're all voting the same way. Sue and I had discussed on our own about getting Richard in the same vote and us 3 having the same vote.
So no matter what, even if we never talk again, the next vote is?
Because the more people you know that are going to vote for somebody else, you might as well go with that. You might as well, keep yourself safe and, keep it in the majority. We really like Rudy. Rudy's kind of crabby, but he's a lot better to get along with, than the 2 boys. At least he's honest.
It just makes sense. If you want to vote out others, you need numbers. Otherwise, you are banking on blind luck that people want to keep you to the end. At the moment, they aren't sure if they can pull in Rudy, but I think if he were to see the light, he would cave and join them. Though it doesn't seem like they're interested in roping in Dirk or Sean since they both slack off and aren't taking this game very seriously, at least in their opinion. Toggy then gets tree mail, which indicates the next challenge will involve rowing a boat, literally Kelly's specialty. She is a river guide, and she says this will be an easy win for me. So at the immunity challenge, it is an easy loss for her as she gets her butt kicked, and it isn't even close. Wow. She does play it cool though when she gets back to camp and says, hey, what is life if we aren't embarrassed from time to time? True. So they all vote at tribal, and...
The tribe has spoken.
Survivor is the #1 show in America. The bug has bitten big time. If you haven't seen it,
Walking to our death.
Wednesday is the perfect time to start.
Something great is coming.
Rumors are beginning to fly.
There is no romance.
It's all about sex.
And the 2 tribes go to battle for food.
That way you can eat more dirt, because you looking like hell.
Time magazine calls Survivor TV's biggest success.
Yes.
Who will be forced off the island next?
It's time for you to go, bud.
All new Survivor, CBS Wednesday.
It is now episode 6 and something called the merge is teased, an indication that at some point both tribes will live together as one big group. Kelly says the other tribe seems like nice people, but they're not taking this game very seriously, and that is a lot of judgment to pass on people she has not lived on the beach with. But here's the weird thing. She's right. I know I sounded as if she is wrong, but no, she's actually dead on. It's just weird that she's that accurate and she's never lived with them. You know what I mean? Rudy finally sees the light and tells Rich, Sue, and Kelly he wants to join them. Bingo. That is exactly what they needed. Their tribe wins immunity, and in episode 7, Jenna gets to come to the Toggy camp to evaluate them and see if their camp is the better one to move to. Spoiler alert, it is. So while talking to them,
See, rumors that I've heard that you guys are plotting an alliance against us, divide and conquer sort of thing.
Really?
That's the big one.
I finally went along with this alliance, and if I didn't, I'd be out of here probably the next vote or the one after.
I think with an alliance that we establish here, we can do very, very well.
If you don't, you're out.
Exactly. Tell me what option you have, Rudy.
It's like a business deal. I mean, if we're both businessmen, I don't care if he's queer or not. We're doing business, and I probably did business with a lot of queers, but I didn't know it. You think they wouldn't do it to us?
No, of course they wouldn't. I don't think somebody's in control of our group in particular. I think I'm in control of who's being voted off. And I think that's all that matters to me.
They're now merged on the Toggy camp. Yeah, whatever. Let's get back to what Jenna said. How on earth would she know about an alliance of any sort? See, here's the thing. Kelly might have gathered from interacting with these other people at the challenges that they're not taking this game very seriously. I mean, it's possible. But Jenna, what Jenna's saying is like, I don't know, someone on production is telling her something, which is just not okay. I mean, we see Jeff bring up things at Tribal and at challenges that he technically shouldn't be saying unless it's public information, but this kind of information for her to know is just outrageous. Now, Toggy has to watch what they say at all times, and I think that's a bit unfair. This information should not be revealed. So Pagong and Toggy are tied 5-5, but at the end of the day, it's really the Toggy 4 versus everyone else, who seems to be playing an individual game. That's right, everyone else is kind of on their own. All 10 people gather around the fire at night, and we get to hear some dirty stories. And no, I don't mean mud and sewage, I mean mud and sewage in the bedroom. All right, even Rudy, who is in the Navy, is appalled. In the midst of this, Gretchen reveals she drank a lot of alcohol at 14 years old, and Kelly says, yeah, I did a lot of the same things Gretchen did. That is rough. Greg wins immunity, and after he does, he says, alliances are boring. Winning with an alliance would ruin this game. So they all vote at Tribal, and...
Jenna. Colleen. Rudy. Rich. Sue. Jervis. Gretchen.
Oh my God.
Gretchen. Gretchen.
Oh my God.
Travis spoken.
Wow, that was a 4-1 insane vote. But that is the power of an alliance on full display for all to see, and back at camp, people are blown away by what just happened. Sean says, I don't get it. There is no good reason to vote for Gretchen other than strategy. Yeah, welcome to Survivor, Sean, a social strategic game of voting each other off, and these four got it first. Kelly says people should not be taking this so personally. We then get videos from home where Greg wins and his sister is strange. Rudy suspects incest between the two, and I'm gonna be frank, I cannot take it off the table as an option. It's just weird. Jervis then wins immunity, and Kelly is now experiencing a moral conundrum. Should she continue with the alliance and be a backstabber and a liar, or should she abandon it? She is currently split on her feelings, and this is presented positively to us, as if she is growing as a person. Then at Tribal Council, Jeff goes hard, asking about any alliance, which sees Sue, Rich, and Kelly all outright lie their butts off to him about it. To be fair, Jeff should have asked this just once, but it's like the whole Tribal, and he keeps hammering at it as if he knows something, but they just won't admit to it. Like a parent who caught their kid doing something, but they want the kid to confess to it. That's what it feels like. Jeff's the parent, the alliance is the kid. So they all vote, and...
Jenna. 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 Greg. 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 Greg, the tribe has spoken.
I believed him for a minute.
Episode 9 sees Pagong super upset about what is happening. Colleen says they're all liars. Jeff asked them if there's an alliance and they said no. True, they lied, but that was to stop everyone else from forming an alliance against them, which they still could. There are 8 people in this game. The Toggy 4 is only half. But Kelly is contemplating the moral implications of the alliance. She says it's just no fun. If she's going to win this game, it needs to be on her own terms. Why? How would that even work? I thought she didn't care about what other people thought. I thought she was only here to win the money. Why does it have to be on her own terms? Thankfully for her, Richard Hatch is seen as the kingpin of their alliance, and Sue has a plan.
No, I think it would be best if we can meet and you can take him out at the end.
Take Rich out?
Yeah, just me and you. I've been knowing all along that I'm gonna burn him, but I didn't want to say anything to Kelly too early. Right now, I don't trust anybody except for Kelly. I trust Kelly 100%. 100%. She trusts me the same. We're like sisters.
I really like Sue a lot. We've bonded quite a bit in these 30 days.
And it'll be 20 years come this Easter that I lost my best friend. So coming across Kelly, somebody I can hang with, It's so long. I ain't gonna her. I'm not burning her.
See, now that is a good strategy. Ride the Toggy forward to the end and then knock out Richard Hatch. I mean, you may need to do it come Final 5, but those details can be worked out later. For now, Kelly, Sue, and Jenna catch a fish. Finally. Nice. Rudy then wins immunity, and back at camp, we learn that Sean is doing something called the alphabet strategy. Basically, he's just voting for whoever is next in alphabetical order, acting like that is the only fair way to do it. On its face, it seems kind of dumb, and I'm not going to say it's definitively smart, because it's not. Jenna is next, and I must point out that his strategy ensures that he votes for all Pagong before ever writing a Toggy name. Sneaky, sneaky. Sue and Kelly revel in how far Pagong has fallen due to the Toggy Alliance, and we then learn something that we haven't seen on the show and I don't quite agree with. Colleen says Kelly wants to leave the Toggy Alliance so badly, but Richard is holding her back from doing what she knows is right. AKA Kelly is painted as the victim of an alliance she started with Sue and then brought Rich into. So they all vote at Tribal and...
Rich. Jenna. Rich. Jenna. Rich. Jenna. The last vote. Jay or Jenna? Jenna, the tribe has spoken.
For these 7 castaways to have lasted this long, they've had to be cunning.
I'm a smart guy.
And treacherous.
If it's me, Rich, and Kelly at the end, me and Kelly are taking them down.
But to survive Wednesday, they'll have to be ruthless.
Making a deal with Rich is like making a deal with the devil.
Who will ultimately survive on the #1 show in America?
The old redneck will burn the city slicker.
If you're not watching Survivor on Wednesday, you probably don't have a TV.
You can't trust anybody.
All You Survivor, CBS Wednesday.
For all the crap Pagong has said about the Toggy Alliance being morally wrong, Pagong voted together this time. Kelly was the stray vote. Yep, Pagong was just mad they were caught with their pants down and Toggy has them right where they want them. But is Kelly really wanting to leave the Alliance, or is this some sort of strategy?
This is not what I thought it was going to be like. It's not about surviving elements. It's about surviving yourself. I didn't want to be part of the Alliance because I thought it was conniving and dirty and untrue to myself. Sue and I had discussed on our own about getting Richard in the same boat and us 3 having the same vote.
I think they kind of strong-armed Kelly into making an alliance.
You know, I kind of feel like Luke Skywalker or something. I crossed over to the dark side for a moment. I don't like playing the game that way. Making a deal with Rich is kind of like making a deal with the devil. And I've been pretty much letting Rich think that I'm still part of his little mind game follower thing. Do I just kind of roll over and let Rich decide how it's all going to play out, or do I try and beat him at his own damn game?
To answer my own question, I have no idea. The players here are clearly figuring it out as they go along, and Kelly, being only 22 years old, may not really know who she is as a person, so people being mad about her strategy could easily sway her despite her I don't care attitude she supposedly has. Reminds me a bit of a high schooler. Kelly paints herself as the heroic Luke Skywalker, as you heard, and Richard Hatch as Vader, but in reality, their games are not that different. It's just that Rich knows what he's doing and doesn't care about the perception, whereas Kelly does care. Richard then wins immunity, and he says something is off about Kelly. She's hiding stuff from the Alliance and seems to be friending the Pagong members more than she lets on. At Tribal Council, Luke Skywalker herself tells Jeff that she doesn't have strategy, she just votes for whoever makes her mad. That's so untrue. So they all vote, and...
Tribe has spoken.
Episode 11 has Rich saying the flip-flopping by Kelly is clearly on purpose, with Sue upset because she sees this as potential jury pandering by Kelly. Rich isn't mad as much as he is just amused, but Sue is mad. The jury pandering makes Kelly look like she is abandoning those she gave her word to, namely Sue, who views Kelly as a friend that has made earrings for her and hangs out with her all day. Kelly says, whatever, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I am not here to make friends. Ah yes, just like Luke Skywalker. We then go to the immunity challenge where Colleen, the last remaining Pagong member, asks if Kelly is going to vote her off if she loses this immunity, and Kelly says no. Jury pandering, people, jury pandering. Maybe it will work. The jury will mostly be Pagong after all. Kelly ends up winning immunity, and back at camp, Kelly says, I don't care about alliances anymore. But Colleen sees through this and says Kelly's just being a double agent playing both sides. Yes, Colleen, yes. Kelly then proceeds to say, I don't care about anyone, period. I mean, this is like what, the 5th, 6th, 7th? I don't know how many times she said she doesn't care about anybody, but she really tries to hammer it home in a way that makes you think she does care, but she's trying to convince herself she doesn't, you know? I am blown away that somehow Rich is perceived to be the bigger villain, when at least he is honest and straightforward about strategy, even if he's arrogant. So they all voted tribal, and
Calling the tribe has spoken.
all of Pagong is gone, so who is next? Likely Sean or Kelly. Sean because he has never been a part of the Toggy 4, and Kelly because, duh. Sue says, I am over Kelly pretending to be the good guy since Kelly just voted against Toggy at the last tribal council.
You did not tell him you were interested. You told him you weren't aligned with us. Because Colleen told me that.
That's bull.
Well, I don't give a because I trust her more than I trust you.
Why? That's bull. I've been your friend since day one.
No, I'm going fishing.
That's bull. Will you talk to me?
No, I don't have to.
Oh man, Sue was Kelly's closest friend and ally, and here they are duking it out. This is the opposite of jury pandering Kelly. But to be frank, I am confused about Kelly, and I think even Kelly is confused about Kelly. It's as if her emotions and logic are at war inside of her. Kelly then wins immunity, which is to go to a bar with Jeff and watch the first 5 minutes of the first episode of the show, and thankfully, that first 5 minutes does not contain the quote of Rich saying he's going to win it all, or that would be awkward to watch. But what is more interesting about this reward?
This was our mess hall. This was where we stayed. She didn't know she was in the enemy's camp. And we had cordoned it off so you couldn't see anything but a tiny little area of this. And she goes, wow, that's weird, having a survivor thing. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, you know. And I said, yeah, we spend so much money here that they actually put a neon sign up for us just to let us know it's, oh, that's cool.
Back at camp, Sue and Kelly are cleaning each other and seem to be good again, which causes Rich to be confused and for myself to be confused as well. I thought these two were enemies now. Well, as it turns out, they are. Kelly and Sue talk some more, and Sue no longer wants Kelly in the final two with her. I don't blame her, but I am with Rich. Their relationship is confusing. But then again, Kelly I think is just confused in general. We then have an iconic immunity challenge where
Survivor Witch Project, Pagong Beach. Sundown. Behind each mask is a question. Take the video camera, point it at yourself, record the answer. First one back with all the correct answers wins immunity. Survivors ready. Go!
Well, the spirits still want to hear the conch show. I don't know. What is the one event that has overshadowed the departure to most of the survivors from tribal council? I don't know. If the spirits cause you to become lost in the jungle, what should you do to find your way home? I don't know.
I guess you get to keep this. There you go.
Good job, Kelly.
I don't know. Amazing, Rudy, amazing. He is the opposite of Kelly, by the way. Rudy is a simple man who means what he says and says what he means. But Kelly winning immunity means Sean is voted out, and we are now down to the final four.
It began with 16 survivors.
Let's do it!
It became a national phenomenon and the #1 show in America. This Wednesday, it all comes down to one final vote and one incredible night of TV. The Survivor finale is so amazing, so top secret, we can't show you a single second. Who will be the ultimate survivor? Find out on the 2-hour finale. Then we're reuniting the castaways live. You can't miss the final night of Survivor, CBS Wednesday.
Kelly is on the hot seat. She is not surviving these last couple of tribal councils without winning immunities or somehow convincing Sue and Rich to flip on Rudy. The latter is unlikely to happen, especially when Sue says Kelly's my enemy and I want her gone. Amazing. Kelly is on an immunity or bust strategy because I can't see why Rich and Rudy would want to keep her over Sue. Kelly then finally admits the truth to us when she says she tried playing both sides without anyone noticing, but they did notice and therefore she miscalculated this plan. You don't say, Kelly, you don't say. She then pulls off a miraculous immunity win #3 and at tribal council.
Sue. Rich. Sue. Rich. Here's how a tiebreaker works. Rich and Sue will not vote. Kelly and Rudy will vote again. First vote. Sue. Sue. The tribe has spoken.
We'll see you guys later.
Interesting that Kelly flipped on the revote. I mean, it's not unlike her to flip-flop, but I'm wondering what happens if it stayed a tie vote. That very same morning, Jeff wakes them up early because they're doing their final immunity challenge right here, right now. Hold a hand on the idol for as long as you can, take your hand off and you lose. Simple. This is a battle of concentration and how much you want to win, which is why when Richard drops on purpose, it's baffling. But he understands that whether Rudy or Kelly wins this immunity, they're taking him to the end, and if he were to win, he'd have to make a choice that could potentially make one of them mad, so why make anyone mad? He feels safe. So in a battle for her life in the game,
You take his hand off.
There you go. 5 in a row. That's a record.
wow, 4 immunity wins. Kelly has set the bar high for future editions of this show, but Rich is right, she's going to take him to the end. Everyone mostly loves Rudy, whereas Rich has been painted as evil for making an alliance and running it successfully. So at Tribal Council, Rudy is voted off.
The 14th person voted off the island is Rudy. In this case, Kelly has spoken.
This is it, final 2. Who can convince this jury of 7 to give them the $1 million and the title of sole survivor? In my opinion, it should be Rich. I know it's a video about Kelly, but it should be Rich. He was arrogant yet honest and stuck to his guns. Kelly jury pandered and fought with her closest ally in Sue, but then again, this is season 1 of Survivor and no one knows what to expect. Kelly opens Final Tribal with her saying, "I am not a politician and I hope you all judge me for who I am as a person and not how I played this game." Kind of weird, they only know you for how you played this game. They don't know her outside of here, so what? I will note that the show puts sad music behind her opening speech in hopes to make you sympathetic towards her. Jervis is the first person to speak and he says,
I just wanted to know, is there any 1, 2, or 3 things you would change from your 39 days on this island, or nothing at all?
The one thing I probably would change is I probably wouldn't have joined an alliance when I did.
Good answer. 4 out of the 7 jurors are Pagong members who feel burned by the alliance. That is the right way to appeal to that. Good answer. 4 out of the 7 jurors are Pagong members who feel burned by the alliance, and that is the right way to appeal to them. Jenna asked Kelly what 2 people she would pick to be in the final 2 if it wasn't Kelly and Rich. Now Rich picks Rudy and Greg, 2 people who are on the jury with votes, and Kelly picks Sonia and Gretchen. Sonia was the first boot and Gretchen just barely missed the jury, so 2 people who cannot vote for her to win the game. And one of them, Pagong never even met. Rich made the right call here. Colleen then asks what character traits got them to the final 2 and Kelly says faith, a strong will, and hopefully likability. Not bad, but not inspiring. Rudy then steps up and says, I feel dumb for losing immunity, and then sits right back down. 10 out of 10, no notes. Greg then asks them both to pick a number between 1 and 10. Kelly picks 3. This is the wrong answer. Apparently, it was 9, and Rich was closer by picking 7. If this is to be believed as the strategy is why Greg picked Rich, and I don't think it is. Sue is the final juror, and she says,
You will not get my vote. My vote will go to Richard. And I hope that is the one vote that makes you lose the money. I plead to the jury tonight to think a little bit about the island that we have been on. This island is pretty much full of only 2 things, snakes and rats. We have Richard the snake, who knowingly went after prey, and Kelly, who turned into the rat that ran around like the rats do on this island, trying to run from the snake. I feel we owe it to the island's spirits that we have learned to come to know, to let it be in the end the way Mother Nature intended it to be, for the snake to eat the rat.
Amazing. I shortened that by a lot, but you get the picture. Sue felt so burned by Kelly, and in my opinion, Sue was a needless burn. Kelly never should have turned her back on her friend and the alliance, and here she gets roasted for doing so. So Jeff reveals who won the first ever season of Survivor.
The winner of the first Survivor competition is Rich. Congratulations, Rich.
So let's break this down. How is Kelly Wigglesworth as a character and a strategist? I am combining both sections into one because they're hard to separate for Kelly in this season. Personally, I don't think Kelly knew who she was, and it shows in all aspects. She constantly flipped between I don't care what anyone thinks to acting like the Alliance is immoral. What did she actually think? I want to say her emotions and logic were constantly fighting inside of her because that's what we saw. It seemed like her emotions said, this is wrong to do, but her brain said, the Alliance is right, we want to win. As one person, she kind of inherently displayed the conundrum of the season. Do alliances taint the game of Survivor, or are they correct? Some players had their feet planted firmly on one side or the other, but Kelly was the rare person who was on the side with power and still questioned it. It makes her story interesting, even if her as a person on the season was quite boring and frustrating in my opinion. Out of 23 character moments shown on the show, 7 were heroic and 16 were villainous, making Kelly Wigglesworth a villain character on Survivor Borneo. And out of 38 strategic moments shown on the show, 23 were smart and 15 were dumb, making Kelly Wigglesworth a smart strategist on Survivor Borneo. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. I'll see you all next time.